Hi, Rana. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Today, the interview is with you, actually. Are you
hmm
ready?
I'm ready. Thanks a lot for inviting me to this interview. It's going to be very fun and interesting. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Definitely. We need to put you under like some spotlight, something to
Thank you.
highlight some things
Yeah.
that you do all the time.
Ah,
Okay. Should I start? I'm gonna start.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to start with the first question that I prepared for you, actually. Um, you created a wonderful community at the Bridges.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Can you share the story, why you created Edubridges, the how, when did you think about it?
I'll make it short and sweet. The idea behind Edubridges actually is the conclusion to a almost 30 years of a journey of 30 years in the educational sector. Throughout my journey, ever since I started as a teacher, going to being a coordinator, from coordination, going to a PhD student, coming back to teaching in the higher education sector and preparing teachers to teach, all the way to becoming an administrator, there have been two things that always annoyed me throughout my journey. The first one is the fact that teachers have been marginalized and continue to be marginalized throughout. They are asked to, or we are asked to, deliver as teachers. With all the changes that are taking place, we're always asked to deliver, up the game, offer, and whatnot, but at the same time, we're not empowered 100% to actually do what we are expected and asked to do. That's number one. And number two is the fact that we continue in the educational sector to work in silos. Each and every stakeholder is working on their own. The teachers work in one space. Actually, each teacher in each school works in their own classroom. Collaboration happens. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's always broken down. There's a lot of silo work, teachers alone, principals alone, parents alone, students alone. The students are not working with the teachers, teachers are not working with the students, policymakers on their own. So there's that fragmented approach in the educational sector. Knowing that, as a biology teacher, looking back, the human body, for it to function properly, all the systems inside need to work together and connect with each other. And for the educational sector to function properly, all those sub organs and subsystems need to work with each other. So, with that in mind, in 2020, I reached a place in my professional journey where I was fortunate to have the time, effort, and clarity in mind to to sit down and say, okay, how can I really contribute to bridging this, solving this, while doing something I like, actually, while doing something I love. And that's where the Edubridges came from. It's it came with the idea of bridging the gaps between research and practice. That's what the cliche is. But realistically speaking, it is for bridging the gaps between humans, because we cannot bridge the gap between research and practice without bridging the gap between the individuals who are doing research and who are practicing the education. And in my mind, we cannot do that without empowering the teachers, the practitioners, the educators who are on the ground. So that's the idea behind EduBridges.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing this idea. Amazing stuff. I want to ask about like now that you created Edubridges to serve that
Mhm.
goal, um, Where do you see the impact on the collaboration, the role? How is it playing in the community of educators, let's say, and leaders in technology?
Okay. I'll be very honest. Edubridges is in its infancy still. And similar to any, I don't like the idea of a startup because I don't see Edubridges as an entrepreneurial company or entity. I struggle usually using terminology from the business sector in our education space because I'm an educator, teacher, and I believe in the academic side. So I'm not looking at it as an entrepreneurship. I'm looking at it as a community of practice or a network of professionals, a professional learning network. Uh, with that in mind, it's still in its infancy. I cannot say that the impact is humongous or huge. We're still growing, but I can see the impact when I find positive feedback from some individuals, especially when I'm having one to one meetings where people reflect on the experience that they are going through and they say, thank you. Or I receive an email from individuals I don't know, and it's just, thank you for what you're doing. We really need this initiative. We really need this space. So I can tell you that I honestly feel there's a ripple effect. I cannot say there's a big impact yet, but there is that ripple effect. I can see those rings starting to show and people starting to know about it. And my biggest thing while promoting EduBridges, while establishing it and promoting it, has been like, who are your target audience? Because
Mhm.
whenever you're trying to explain something to a person in front of you, the first thing that comes to their mind is, so who are you talking to? Who is your target audience? And I always say it's like it's not one group, because the what we are used to in the education sector, again, with the mindset of uh, the silo structure, when all the initiatives or the majority of the initiatives target a particular um, stakeholder, either the teachers or the university profs or researchers. In my situation and in EduBridge's situation, whenever I'm asked about that, I say it's not about one group, because we cannot bridge the gaps with one group. To bridge the gap, we have to bring we have to bring these stakeholders together. So again, have can I say there's a major impact? I can't say that. However, I can say there's a ripple effect. And the biggest tangible effect that I can say I've seen has been the conference, where we received a much stronger interest on both sides, the presentation side and the attendee side, than what I expected. So there's that. During the conference, I could see that, yes, we're starting to have that small baby impact steps as we go through.
My next question is about the future of EduBridges, how it's
Mhm.
evolving to support educators or even leaders in the field, and with all the rapid change of technology and digital transformations in schools
Yeah.
nowadays. Like, how do you see EduBridges evolving, and what are like future expectations for us as members of the community as well?
The future for EduBridges. As I started off, I'm hopeful that through EduBridges we'll be able to bring people together and change the silo mentality into working as a group. And for that, I have three main things that I have in mind in order to make that happen. The first one is the focus on passionate educators, whether in K to 12, higher education, uh, administration spaces, education boards, and whatnot. The passionate individuals and educators, that's the real focus for EduBridges. The second component is the celebration of achievements of such individuals. Because again, going back to what I started first, the marginalization or uh, the absence of high value for what we are doing and what we're contributing. So I really feel another main pillar for Edubridges is celebrating the achievements. The third pillar is connecting the individuals, creating that space where individuals can actually work with each other. So, for the future, with these three pillars in mind, I feel, or I'm hopeful that
Mhm.
Edubridges will grow into the vibrant community that I'm dreaming of. It started, the last month has shown me that yes, we're on the right track. So the community is growing and it's becoming more vibrant by the day. I'd like to grow the library of resources. And when I say library of resources, it's not Edubridges or Rana's library of resources. It's the library of resources for the community members as a whole. Because we have this saying in Arabic, and I really like it a lot. إيد واحدة ما بتزقف, one hand cannot clap. It's all about collaborative work. So there's that part. Uh, a third thing, I hope, and the plan is for this to be a place where things happen. So, a catalyst space where people who are passionate, connecting with each other, can come together and create something new, not for Edubridges. They can create something new for themselves. For themselves, it is. I just hope that Edubridges becomes that catalyst to bring people together to create something new, because realistically speaking, us as educators and those individuals, we are the ones who know what needs to be done. So hopefully this will provide that. And definitely I'd like Edubridges to be giving back to the community, because education, I don't see it as just a profession. It is a mission, you know. It is a risale. It is,
100%.
and I'm not thinking. I don't want anybody to misunderstand me that I'm trying to be very poetic and uh, the idea of the candle. We have in Arabic a lot of sayings with regards to the teacher being a candle that withers away to bring newer generations. I'm not that. I'm
The
not that
teacher
at
is a
all.
prophet, one of this.
Yes, and the educator is almost a prophet next to a prophet. I'm not talking about poetry. I'm not talking about uh, like out of the
True.
cloud ideas. I'm talking about
Okay.
reality. We as teachers make the difference in our students and children's lives. We are the first and foremost individuals who really have an impact. And with that in mind, giving back to the community is something key uh, for us at Edubridges. Uh, that's why at the present time, and hopefully for as long as I can afford, things are free, other than the workshops, other than the training. But access to the open spaces is free, because that's part of giving back to the community, and I'd like to give back to the wider community even. My biggest objective for Edubridges is to become the association or an association for educators in the MENA region. Up until now, we don't have a space for educators in the MENA region to come together and connect, because there's so much we can learn from each other.
Yes.
That's a long term dream, but for
Yes.
now, we're starting with the first small ripples and we'll see where it goes.
Um, I second you with that. I mean, nowadays it is really sad to see that many educators prefer to stay in their own circle. Just
Yeah.
do the job, go back home, that's it. But you won't grow unless you collaborate with others. You won't grow unless, and you have to grow. It's mandatory for us nowadays to grow with our skills and our methodologies in or strategies in the classroom, because the world is changing and it's changing fast, and we have to like catch up with all the changes happening, because we cannot just go into a class expecting to teach the same way like before. We cannot expect to um, be the content providers nowadays, because nowadays the students are creators of content. Nowadays they're creators, and we have
Totally.
to approach things with a different dimension. And that's why Edubridge's mission is quite important, especially for the MENA region, because yeah, there is no such community that I know of that is like adding all these teachers together, combining them to create something like a space, or to collaborate and to share expertise. And I really encourage like any educators who are watching this video, if you are not part of a PLN, a professional learning network like Edubridges right now, you have to join one. It's a must to stay up to date, to stay on top of your game as an educator, unless you just want to stay in the behind the line, at the end of the line, and just, I don't know like how this will affect your position. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Rawan, it's very interesting that you're saying this because as you were talking, I was thinking at the present time, there's that big fear that's across not just education. It's a big fear that is a global fear of how will AI impact the professions? How will AI impact the stability of jobs for individuals and not whatnot? And who will be replaced by an AI bot or an AI robot, whichever one it is? And in my mind, education is among the I strongly believe it. Education is among the last jobs to be replaced by technology. Time has proven it. Time and time again, it started off with the radio. It will move to TV, thinking that TV will take the place of the teacher when tutoring over TV started. So, computer, laptop, think of it, it's been there. And time again, the teacher's position has always been there because, again, teaching is not only about teaching, it is teaching and bringing up the younger generation and the future generations. That being said, uh, I don't remember who said it. There is a quote by someone. If a teacher is to be replaced by AI, it's because they deserve to be replaced by AI. And I'm not being negative over here. But if I see myself as a teacher, as just the presenter of information, I will be replaced by an AI bot because guess what? I've already been replaced by the internet a long time ago. If
True.
that's what I see my job as. However, we as teachers, we are really navigating, or educators, we are navigating new waters or new times. With AI in particular, as you were talking, I thought of the times when we navigated the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
During the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of push. Not we had to switch online, we had to move online, but realistically speaking, and there were loads and loads of trainings that took place online in each and every institution. But
Correct.
realistically, what made the difference in teachers, parents, and students' lives? It was the WhatsApp groups or the groups that were offline, trying, not offline, I mean outside the scope of the school, where one teacher did something shared with the others. It was a collaborative professional development process, a
True.
collaborative solving the problems approach. And that's why education survived that. None of the students lost. Okay, they lost uh, particular knowledge, but nobody
Of
lost
course.
a year. We were able to move across and build up and make up for it.
Exactly.
And that's what professional learning networks, professional learning communities, whatever we call them. But that's what hopefully Edubridges can provide, a space for us as we navigate the AI era, but
True.
hold on to supporting each other, learning from each other, and promoting growth, academic and professional growth from passionate educators to passionate educators, I guess.
I love it. From passionate educators to passionate. True. Especially that many of us right now have a wide experience right after the pandemic, post pandemic,
Yes.
or post any crisis that we had. We have a wide experience using digital tools or how to communicate information virtually and
Yes.
so on. And think about the newly graduated students nowadays in
Mhm.
education, how much they could benefit from those who have that experience. So having a professional learning network and joining these two together and sharing expertise, that bridges a gap at some point, right? So at the
Hopefully.
bridges, bridging any like any disconnection, any people from different
Totally.
points. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for me, Harana. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It was an amazing conversation with you, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to working with you, of course.
Likewise, and I really appreciate your insights, your input, and I appreciate every passionate educator's input and insight. And I'll finish with this note. I strongly believe that together we can make a difference. So let's
100%.
make it happen.
Yes, our collaboration is the most important part as educators. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.